Thanks for attending my session today. Hi, everyone from Berlin. My name is Moataz Nabil. I'm a developer advocate at Bitrise. And today we have a talk about tips to optimize Android app deployments. So from development to production, we will explore together different tips related to the Android app deployments and also the mobile DevOps. So at the beginning, a little bit information about me. I worked before in different business domains as a test automation engineer and software developer in agriculture, telecom, healthcare, fashion, and food delivery. I also participated and designed a lot of test automation frameworks for web, mobile, and API using different set of tools and technologies. I implemented different CI/CD pipeline, and also I'm AWS community builder under the mobile and the web category, and also I'm a technical trainer. Just I need from your side, just to start participating together, just I need to, if you have any QR scanning application, just scan this QR code, or if you don't have, you can just open your browser and go to menti.com and just write this number. This is an open question. We are like asking about, or we are taking or talking about what are the challenges or the current challenges that you have in your app deployment, even if it's related to the CI/CD or test automation, the deployment and everything. So just we will see together the result here. So once everyone can add different text or words, so it will display it live here. So please. Yes, so we have here a build time. So we have one answer, and for sure you can add multiple answers as you want. So what are your biggest or your biggest challenges or issues that you have in your team or in your company, or previously you see it in Android app deployment, and you hope to fix or to find a solution for this one? So we have till now we have one answer. It's a build time, maybe something related to test automation, maybe CI/CD or fragile CI, maybe configuration-wise, maybe caching. So please, you can just add your answer. So flaky UI test, yes, sure. So, and yeah, so maybe we can have like 2 minutes or 1 minute just to jump. Yeah, so flaky emulators. Okay. So can just have 1 minute and then we can jump to our presentation. So here we have flaky UI tests, flaky emulators, instrumentation tests, build time, and maybe it's something related to releases or release cadence. Maybe you are releasing every 2 months or something like this. So everything is affecting your deployment. Please, you can share it with me. So till now we have flakiness and UI test, emulators, and build time, and so barrel builds. Yes, okay. And yeah, we can have one. Yeah, so you can wait 1 minute more, and we have 5 answers here. And yeah. Okay, so we have multiple app stores. So I think maybe deploying it to multiple app stores, I think, as I understood this one, a store sub review. Okay. Okay, great. So we have issues related to UI testing, no hockey app. Okay, great. Okay, no sound effects. Okay. Okay, so let's now it's 5 minutes. So let's jump into our, so we have different issues related to flakiness in UI tests, emulators, build time. I think it's time consuming, or it's taking time to build your apps, even or especially if you have different variants in your application. So you are building different apps from the same code base. No hockey app, something related to the deployment, barrel builds to like eliminate or to like reduce the build time, multiple app store, and instrumentation test. So let's continue with our thanks. Thanks a lot for your participation, and I will add additional points related to the problem or the challenges that we have. So inflexible and fragile CI. So if we have not a stable or unstable CI server, this is also taking or like consuming a lot of time from our side, because we are wasting time to asking the DevOps engineers to fixing the issues that related to CI servers. Sometimes our build passed, sometimes failed. We don't know the reasons and so on. Shipping code is a painful process, so we don't have a clear process in our team when we should deploy our application, how we can deploy our application, and so on. So shipping code is a manual process and is a painful process as well. Testing processes are manual and time and effort consuming. Testing, manual testing here is not not affecting us to delivering applications or deploying our applications faster, because that we need to find or we need to tackle this challenge as well. Live bug and crashes, because all of the above challenges, for sure, sometimes we have live and bugs or crashes in the production application, and we are releasing every 2 months because we are like taking a lot of time or wasting a lot of time with all the above challenges, because that we are releasing in 2 months. And you can imagine that if you have a competitor in the market, and if you are working in an e-commerce application or like shopping, like transportation or anything, you have a lot of competitors, and you can imagine that you have release every 2 months and your competitor are releasing every 1 month or every 2 weeks or even 1 week. So they will be like, for you, it's like something frustration or frustrate the team, because you need always to deploy frequent releases and with a good quality. And we have as well a negative feedback and rating on the App Store, because for sure we have a live bugs. We are releasing every 2 months, so the customer is not satisfied with our apps. So because that we have a negative feedback and the rating is low in our App Store. And one more thing, also remember before we start like talking about how we can tackle all of these challenges, with mobile apps, mistakes are harder to revert. You need to always remember this one. So with mobile app, when we are deploying our application, we just like deploy it to the App Store for review, and we can, or the rollback or revert this process is hard. So it's not like the web applications, not like the API. So you can, for example, the web application, you can deploy 100 versions of the web application in the same day. Just refresh the browser, you will find a totally new web browser. But with mobile apps, like mistakes are harder to revert. So we always need to take care about that. We are deploying the correct features, the working features, and also tested, and everything in our application is working properly. So now let's ask a question. What is the process that will help us to tackle all of these challenges and will help us to like move forward to the, for example, decreasing the release cycle and so on? It is a mobile DevOps. So I know that most of you are like heard before about the DevOps in general, but for mobile DevOps, we have a specific things related to the mobile application or mobile development related to, we have a monitoring or we need to monitor the application from crashes. We have a beta deploy, we have alpha, or we have like production. So we have different deployments. We have something related to variants in our application. We have different things related to mobile DevOps, because that we usually start from the measuring. So we start measure what the status of the current application. Then after that, we will start thinking about the strategy of the CI/CD or continuous integration and continuous delivery. And then after that, we start building our app, testing the application, releasing, and then monitoring after deploying, and so on. So the state or the process not finished here in the release. No, after release also we should monitor our application from crashes if you have anything in the life, and how can we fix these problems as soon as possible. So mobile DevOps is a mobile CI/CD or continuous integration and continuous delivery build and release process to achieve quick, frequent, and release schedule. So this is the main target, and also this one of our challenges in the previous slide. We need to build and release quick and frequent. So it should be quick, not every 2 months, but also it should be a frequent as well. So it's like a time schedule or a schedule in a specific date or time. And inside this DevOps cycle or processes or application lifecycle management, we have here 6 key elements related to the continuous. So it's about continuous communication and the planning. So usually we should communicate as a team together and the planning it together. How can we deploy the new features? How we can revamp the features or the existing features? How we can like using the release manager? How can write test automation scripts and so on? Continuous integration, delivery, and deployment. How we can implement this in our team, and then continuous testing and continuous monitoring. So here we have 6C or 6 continuous keywords. This is like the key elements of the mobile DevOps practices. So here it's a big picture of the mobile DevOps or a mobile CI/CD strategy. So here you can imagine you have a lot of tools, and also you need to like select or choose what is fit in your solution. For example, here you can start from the CI/CD strategy, which is you can use a cloud or any CI server. And then after that, in the building here, you need to decide, shall I use any feature flags, right? Firebase remote config, launch darkly? Shall we deploy to the cloud like AWS, Azure? We are using a Gradle to build the different tasks. Shall we use Fastlane for like automate the tasks inside our application, and so on? And then for the testing, how can we test our application? We will use a test automation. Okay, we will use our local or dedicated devices, or shall we go to the cloud devices like Sauce Lab, Browser Stack, AWS Device Farm, Genymotion, Firebase Test Lab, or Perfecto? And then for releasing, how can we release for beta users or for the beta application, the version of our application? Like maybe you can use Firebase app distribution, deploy to the App Store using Google Play Store or App Center or Test Fairy. And for monitoring, after deploying, you can start monitoring, or you can use any other tool like Firebase, Crashlytics, Bugsnacks, PagerDuty for sending alerts to the team if there is anything or unexpected behavior inside the application, sending notification to Slack or Microsoft Team, or also you can use BigQuery and the Datadog for like creating queries and sending the like the issues or the problems to these tools. And with measuring, you can create your tickets, your strategy, everything that you need with all of these tools. And then this is the big picture of the mobile CI/CD. Also, from my perspective, I believe that the mobile DevOps is a combination between 3 things: people, process, and tools. So without process, even if we have the latest technologies or the latest technologies in the market, we will not deliver or we will not apply the mobile DevOps. And even if we don't have the culture or the mindset or the commitment from the team that we need to use this process and we need to use this tool to deliver or to reach to the mobile DevOps, which is also will not or will affect us and not reach to our goal. So I believe that the people is related to culture, mindset, and commitment. So as a team or as a company, we need to apply these processes or these practices to be able to apply the mobile DevOps practices. For the process, it's about the normal process or the daily process like Agile and Scrum. How can we implement that, or what the process for the RFC or request feature, the code review process. If we have incidents in our application, how we can manage this incidents, the feature flags, how can we use the feature flags for the new features? Shall we use the feature flags? And then after that, how we can remove these feature flags? So all of these related to processes. And the tools, so tools is related to test automation, reporting, releasing, and monitoring. So all of these things drive us to the continuous integration, the continuous delivery, and the continuous deployment. Here's the advantage of the mobile DevOps. So because we implemented or we will apply all of these practices, so this will provide a successful collaboration between stakeholders, product managers, and developers. Because as a developers, we are not working alone. We have a stakeholders, we have product managers. So if we have a process and all of us align together with the same goal and the same target, this will increase the collaboration between the team. Shortest time to release. So we will release our application in short time. Guarantee quality delivery because we will apply the test automation and the different things related to testing. Speeds up error detection and resolution process. Establish a stable environment for mobile, which is if we apply the CI/CD or start using a stable CI environment, so which will affect us as well. So establish a stable environment is important. Provide customer certification because if we remember in our challenges, we have a negative feedback and poor ratings. So here, that's one of the main goals, like provide customer satisfaction and increase the employee engagement between the team. And this is the like all the points of or the advantages of the mobile DevOps. So now, before we start talking about the tips for optimization, what the meaning of the optimization? So optimization here is about user-specific methods, techniques, or process, or anything to determine the most cost-effective and efficient solution to a problem or design for a process. We already have different problems. It's related to the mobile or the Android app deployment. So we have a lot of things accumulated, which is affect us at the end that we are not delivering our apps quickly or frequently to the App Store. So because that, we need to optimize our app deployment. So optimization here, that we are trying to do our best related to or to fix or to fix a problem or to find a solution or design a process for this one. So here we have 7 tips to optimize a mobile app deployments. So let's start quickly and talking about them. So the first one is the cache app dependencies. Usually when we are building our apps, or if we are adding new modules or adding new dependencies, we have every time in your CD, you are building your application. So in mobile CI/CD, or in your CI/CD, every new build is typically executed or like running a new virtual machine if you are using a cloud, for example. So new virtual machine, so you should every time to set up and run all the build steps for your dependencies. So caching the dependencies here is a key, because if you are caching your dependencies, so will not take a lot of time, so it will build the application quickly. And downloading the dependency unnecessary every time, because that if you have already the dependencies cached, so which is store the dependencies in cloud, in an S3 bucket, for example, or any other cloud bucket, and then it will speed. So just you need to check that the dependency is there, and then after that you can fetch it directly, or if there is something will be changed, so it will affect this dependencies as well. So for example, you can have a step something like this. You have S3 cache push and the pull. You can push the cache with from your application to the S3 bucket, and then after that in another build or another workflow, you will pull this cache from this, so we will not build the cache from or the dependencies from the beginning. So the first one, cache dependencies, that's a mechanism that can help us to reduce the build time, and also maybe we can also deploy our application, or we can at least have the application build after a short time. The first step is a UI automated testing. So here is not related, all of them or all of tips not related to the CI/CD itself. So as we mentioned, and also from your answers, we have a different things together. It's all of them are affected us. So for example, a UI automated test. So the test automation, I believe, it's the vital part of the mobile DevOps, because you can imagine if you have the cycle or the process that we had before, from CI/CD strategy to building, testing, and so on. If we remove the test automation from this process, we will stuck here, because if we are using manual testing, so we will wait our QA engineers to start manually testing the applications, the features, and so on. And also you can imagine if you wanted to test on different configurations, different devices, different operating OS versions from Android devices, different hardware devices like Huawei or any other device, or Pixel or Nexus or anything. So the variation here, or if you want to test on different devices, this will be a problem. So because that, I believe that the test automation is a vital part of mobile DevOps. And you can use, and also as well, this point is very important from my perspective as well, testing is a whole team approach. So it's not only related to the test engineers, not related to the QA engineers only, but it's a whole team approach. So mobile engineers or Android developers can write UI tests if we are using a native tool such as Espresso, for example. So the mobile or the Android developers can write UI tests using Espresso native tools, and the QA engineer or the test engineer as well. So here we can share, this is a shared responsibility together. And then we can decide after that when where we can run these tests on cloud devices such as Sauce Lab, AWS Device Farm, Browser Stack, Genymotion, Firebase Test Lab. So it's based on our decision. also it's based on our budget, but you have a variance of testing tools. Just you need to make sure that you are covering the critical test cases in your test automation, and the test automation can or with test automation we can decide shall we deploy our application or not, because if we are covering the critical paths or the critical functions in our application, and we have a problem in the test automation, which is determine us or which is give us indicator that, okay, we have a problem, the application is not stable, so we will not release this week, for example. We need to make sure that all the test scripts are running successfully. And maybe also the flakiness is related to the APIs or backend services. So we need to make sure that this one. So test automation will help us to determine or to know all of these issues. The second part of the automation, so automation is not related only or is not about testing, it's about deployment as well. So once we have a confidence that the test automation is green and we have everything is running successfully, then we can start thinking about automate deployments, because this one will we are now currently wasting a lot of time for deploying app manually, but here you can also have like steps to deploying to the Google Play Store. You can also specify the user friction. You can add everything. You can add the specific channel. For example, I need to deploy this app for beta or for alpha or for the production. So from the steps that you have, you can deploy it with different steps like Firebase app distribution, Huawei app gallery, or Google Play Store. So automate deployment, you can automate the process for submitting updates such as code signing, provisioning. So for sure you have code signing, packaging releases, metadata or screenshots. So everything can be automated using like code sign and deploy steps if you have already in your CI server. So automate deployment also with the automate or the automation of the UI test will help us to reduce and to optimize the app deployments. Run build in parallel on multiple VMs. This one was one of the answers in our question or for our question. So how can we run or this one also will reduce the build time. So run builds in parallel with multiple VMs. So if our team is expanding and the size and the complexity of the features are increasing, so here we need to find a solution, because every time if we are adding more test cases and adding more features in our application, more modules, every time the build time will increasing. So we can't we can find a solution for this. So one of the solutions that also can reduce the build time is a parallel or run builds in parallel. So we can have in our CI server, we can have like one main workflow, install the dependencies and everything required for our application. And then after that, we can split the other steps or the steps that in the workflow in the sub workflows as well. So we can start running our builds in parallel, and then after that we can collect all the artifacts and the result in one main workflow after that. So long build process slow down the development life cycle for sure, and developers must wait for build. And for sure, if you have, for example, in one day you have a big time, most or a lot of BRs from the developers, all of them need to merge this code to the features and so on, so which is take time. So parallelization here is the key as well. So with parallel multiple VMs, this can be a solution as well. The tip number 4 is deploy features under feature flags. So usually all of the team, if we are, or if you have different teams and all of them need to deploy their features, but if we are using feature flags, this will put us in a safe side. So for example, feature flags help to create conditional features. So it's on off. So it can be also, we can like close it, or we can control it remotely. So for example, if we deploy one feature and we already tested it successfully without any problem, but suddenly we found a crash in the production, something unexpected or unexpected behavior. So with feature flag, you can close, or you can remove this feature from the application without any deployment. So currently, if we are not using feature flags, so we need to deploy a hotfix again to disable this feature and to remove it from the application. But with feature flags, it's like a logic to like reduce the development risks is they perform A/B testing as well, and also it can use with different users, and with feature flag also you can like deploy your features, but all of them are behind the features. But also feature flag can be more complicated if we are using it in a wrong way. For example, if we are using dependencies between them, or if there is one feature flag depends on another one, so we should release this one before this and so on. So, but in general, feature flag help us to reduce the development risk. Tip number 5, it's the mobile release train. So this is related to a process. So we should, as a team, agree about that we need to apply the mobile release train. So like the train, actually. So for example, every day, if you are taking your subway or your train in your job, every time you have a schedule. So for example, you are looking to the screen, okay, the next one will be at 10 a.m., the next one will be 10:50, 10:13, and so on. So you have a schedule during the day for the trains. This is mechanism or process can also apply to the releases. So for example, we should have a specific, once you have a CI in place, stable CI, you can start to apply the build trains, can accelerate your release cycles. This is a great way to visualize your development process and ensuring that everyone on the same page. So even the product managers, the stakeholders, everyone in the company or in the team knows that every 2 weeks or every 1 month, we have a specific day for releases or release our application. This can be a new feature, this can be a hotfix, this can be anything inside the application. The approach will help us to release more consistently, and the distributed team also can work together and align with the same deployment. For example, we can say in the next 2 weeks, we will have releases. So if the features from the teams are ready, tested, deployed, everything is okay, so we can use it in the next release. If it's not, so it can be after the next 2 weeks. So there is no any problem because we know that we have releases or we have a schedule for releases. So mobile release train defines a time slot and release on a regular basis every 1 week or 2 weeks, but actually we will not be able to apply this without all of the other things or the previous things. Without test automation, it will be harder to apply this one because test automation will decide, shall we release or not? Shall we like deploy this feature or not? And so on. But in general, the process is define a time slot every 2 weeks or 1 week or 1 month even. And during this the development phase here, the development phase, your team have time to review, test, merge the features. So you have a time here until the code freeze. Code freeze means that we will not merge anything in this release. The next release will start from the another development phase and so on. And always keep master always green. This is our main target. We need always our master to be a green, because that in the development phase, we always need to test, develop, and deploy and review our code. When the content of release is agreed and ready, so it will be a final testing release, for example, integration test or end-to-end or exploratory testing from our QA engineers. And then after that, the team member check everything is working correctly or properly. Then the code freeze marked as a close of the cycle. So we will close this. We already decided which features will be released in this week. And if there is anything not ready, so we will take them in the next 2 weeks. The implementation, as simple as adopt a fixed release train schedule, identify release manager because he will communicate between the developers, the teams, the stakeholders, the product managers. And then after that, introduce a feature flags for increased releases, as we mentioned, confidence and stages, it's stages rollouts. So for example, with feature flag as well, you can decide, okay, I will deploy the application for 10% of our users. And then after that, 20, 30, and so on. So we can like increasing just to check that the application is behaving correctly. And iterate and improve deployment. As we mentioned in the mobile DevOps, it's about continuous improvement and continuous deployment and continuous feedback. The sixth step is about monitoring. So once we released our application, even if we are using a release train or our current process, this also should be added for performance and availability. So here is after releases, mobile app can crashes for 100 different reasons, monitoring releases, detects the problems, and sending you like the track or the issue. You can start investigating what's the issue in the application. And during this phase, multiple things are tracked, such as app consumption, app usage, stability of the application. And you can use different tools like Firebase, Crashlytics. For example, here you can have a dashboard for the users and the devices as well. This crashes is ordered by devices, this category by operating system, the different versions of the OS, of the Android OS. So Firebase, for example, this is just for example, debug crashes faster with crash insights. So here you have a lot of insights for your application, the production one. Also, we have here the issue list, and gain user insights with a customer keys and the logs. Reproduce the crashes faster powered by Google Analytics, and receive notification in real time with Crashlytics alerts. So this is like one symbol, and most of the tools are using the same concept. So monitoring also is a very important to be able to start monitoring your deployment after you already deploy your application. And also you can use a BigQuery with a data studio to visualize the crashes for the team. The last one is move to cloud and mobile focus CI/CD tools. So as we know, in the cloud in general, we have a different types of cloud computing. We have an infrastructure as a service, we have a platform as a service, and you have like application or software as a service. So moving it to cloud, usually you are thinking, okay, I need a mobile CI/CD, or I need a platform to help me to deliver my applications faster. So because that, we usually need to think about, okay, I will go to the platform as a service because they have already the infrastructure that related to the mobile application or the mobile deployment, because that here releasing mobile apps without the right tooling is time consuming. And because if you have your dedicated server, you need to install a lot of tools and prepare everything from scratch. But if you are using a platform as a service, you will have a lot of you will have the infrastructure itself for your mobile applications, and then you just need to connect your application, your code repository, and then after that you can start building your CI/CD pipeline. Having an easy to use a stable CI in place can automate the development process, because that moving to cloud is, or the cloud focus tools can be like a unique or feature one. Because that, I believe that mobile DevOps as a service will help us, or if you are moving to cloud CI server, it will help us in the following things. It will take care of the source code management. So just you need to connect to your code repository, even as in GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, or any other source code. It will manage or will take care about the artifacts management for your applications, test reports, logs, and everything. It will take care of the CI/CD pipelines. It will take care of the unit test integration and the UI test, automate the app deployment, and the infrastructure as well. So you don't think about, okay, I need to find a server dedicated or any other cloud vendor. Okay, this is a purely empty server. I need to install all the things. Every time I need to like using the tools that is required for my app. But if you are using like a platform as a service for the mobile CI/CD, will taking care of all of these things. So for example, with Bitrise, we are automating and like process like this. So here we are building the CI/CD pipeline using these steps. You can add different steps. Just you have more than 300 integration steps. Just you need to design your CI/CD server. And also, there is no hardware to maintain. You just need to select your stack and the machine. Just you need to select your Mac OS or Linux for Android. You just need also to select the hardware and just it, and you are building your or customize your workflow as well. For example, if we are agree that we will implement this workflow, a CI/CD pipeline from the code repository, build the application, run the lint, unit test, UI test, sign app, release to App Center, deploy to App Store, publish the test results, send a Slack notification, then we will like this is the part is called continuous integration. We can run this process or this workflow in every pull request. And this one is a continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Once all of the continuous integration is green, so we can continue with the continuous delivery and the continuous deployment. So for example, here you can connect your source code, building an application, run UI tests with different services or tools, deploy to the Google Play, Huawei App Gallery, anything, or Microsoft App Center if you are using it for the beta users. And this is the workflow. So for example, here we are transforming the workflow that we have to this steps. So here you have run the build, run on virtual device, then you can install or like publish the application for Firebase app for the beta users, and then to the Google Play deploy. And here, for example, this is the workflow. So once you commit or push the code, the webhook will start running on your CI server. We will start building the Android for UI test, because if you are using Espresso for UI test, this step will build both APK or two APKs. One is the application under test itself, and one is a test APK. So the test cases is converted to, or are converted to test APK, and then we can run the test on Firebase Test Lab, for example, on cloud devices, because as we mentioned that we have a flaky or flakiness in the emulators. So this will fix the problem because it's a cloud device. So we can remove this point from our head. So we just need to run on Firebase. Then after that, if everything is okay, we can sign the application, deploy to Microsoft App Center for the QA and test engineers, or beta deploy for the Google Play Store for customers. Also, you can send the result or upload anything to S3 bucket and send the result to the team or the Slack notification. So I think I don't have a time for this demo, I think. So I think maybe it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes, but maybe if I can do it quickly. Just I can show you how can I create a CI like server in a few steps. So for example, here with Bitrise, I can just connect to my repository. So here I can add any other, I can connect to GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, or if I have something is not in my repository, so I can just go to this and clone the step, and it should be public in my case. And then after that, I need to specifying the branch. So here I will, or this step is start scanning your code repository and to detect the type of the application. And then after that, it will give you the stacks or the recommended stacks in your application. For example, it should be Android. So here already it's Android application. Then after that, you need to specify the module, you need to specify the variant. In our case, is debug, and then this is the stack. So it will be Android using a Docker and open to the machine. Then I need to confirm this one. And this is the app icon. I can proceed, and then I can kick off my CI. So this is just in 1 minute, I created my CI pipeline. And then I hit or I started the first build for me. And this is the log. And then after that, I can go to directly, once I run the build, I can go to the workflow editor. And here this is the default workflow. So for example, here I have already a lint, I have unit test. And if I need to add any other step, I can start searching about, for example, UI testing, build application for UI test, which is will build the application and give me at the end two APK, the test APK and the application. So the module is app and the variant is debug. And also I can add one step for running on virtual devices on cloud, and this step for running on Firebase Test Lab. So under the hood or behind the scenes, this step is taking the APK, the test APK, and go to the cloud. For example, I will run on Pixel 2, and I will like select the version Pixel 2. Here I have, for example, 26. And then after that, I need to select the test type. With Firebase Test Lab, we have 3 types: instrumentation, which is the UI test, robo, like a monkey testing, and the game loop. So I will select an instrumentation and just add. So here you can configure. So for example, I need to deploy to Firebase app distribution. I need to deploy to the Google Play Store. So here you are building your CI server, and then after that, you will find all the things in this YAML file. So you can build your own CI/CD pipeline. You can add different workflows as well, one for deploy, one for CI server. And also you can use the Git flow for example, in every BR, I need to run a specific workflow. In every tag, I need to run the deploy workflow, or in every push, I need to run another workflow. So once the build is already finished, the first build, and I will find the status here. So this one is already succeeded. And here I can find all the steps in the log. And from the editor, you can build your own pipeline and just it, and you will have the Bitrace YAML file, and you can save it as well in the GitHub or in your code repository, or you can leave it in the website. So this is mainly what we have today. So the last one is a lesson learned from our talk today. Mobile DevOps is a mindset, culture, process, and the tools. It's not about tools only. Quality is more important than quantity. Test automation is a vital part of mobile DevOps. CI/CD is a coordination process inside the team, and testing is a whole team approach. It's a shared responsibility, not only related or not only a responsibility of the or the cloud, the QA engineer responsibility. And the last one, for sure, customers are the center of everything. So thank you, and I hope that was a useful topic for you. Thank you.